All right, so Jon Jones has been banned from training from the world-renowned Jackson Wink Gym down there in Albuquerque. Let's talk about it. Before we do, my name's Rahul J. Chan. This is the Battle Camp. Thank you very much for joining me. If you're new to the channel, please do consider subscribing. So I was actually watching the MMA Hour with Ara Hawani last night, and while he was having this conversation with Winklejohn, and he asked Winklejohn about Jon Jones, I was personally expecting a standard cookie cutter answer you get from members of Jon Jones's circle. So when Wink confirmed that he's decided to ban Jon Jones from the gym until Jon Jones can quit drinking, I was a little bit surprised. And the reason why I was surprised is this is the first time in my memory that someone that's in Jon Jones's circle has publicly defied Jon Jones. Generally speaking, when these people are questioned about Jon Jones's controversies, what we tend to hear is either it's excuses or it's things such as, oh, he did, he's making the right steps. This is the lesson that he needed to learn. He's making the right steps to make the changes he needs to make. This won't happen again. He's grown as a man, blah, 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 etc., etc., etc. Clearly, this last controversy is the straw that broke the camel's back for Wink, because these steps that he's taken, as I say, it's the first time that I can remember someone publicly in Jon Jones's circle defying Jon Jones. And I think it's quite obvious why this hasn't happened sooner, is because Jon Jones, when he first came on the scene in the UFC, he was a prodigy. He was, I believe, I don't know if it's still the case, but I think at the time he was the youngest ever champion in UFC history. It was quite clear that he had something special, and effectively he was a rising star, and the people around him, and I'm not saying this in a cynical way, but the people around him obviously recognized the value in having him being a member of his team, I should say, because he effectively is a money printing machine when he's on song and when he's doing what he's supposed to be doing, and that's training and fighting. Wink even mentioned this during the interview, because he said, he might go on to become heavyweight champion of the world, and I might lose out on a bit of money there, but some things are more important. And he went on to talk about how he's got 3 daughters and there's females in the gym. And I think that's a very important point, because it's all well and good trying to say to someone like Jon Jones, or publicly having the stance that, oh no, this guy's got problems and we need to do our best to help him address these problems, and we need to help him get through this, and we can't leave him in his time of need, which is why we're going to have him stick around, which is why we're going to have him train in the gym, because we need to help him get himself in a better place, etc. But also, that gym is one of the most prominent gyms in the sport, and there are many female fighters that train at that gym. And one of the more kind of leading figures in the gym is Holly Holm. And from what I understand, Holly Holm and Jon Jones have quite a close relationship. I've heard Jon Jones refer to her as his sister in the past and things of that nature. But his actions of late, and again, his alleged actions, I should say, of late, because we don't know what the full story is, etc. But the optics of what's happened in that night in Las Vegas, it don't bode well for Jon Jones. And when you've got females training in that facility, and you're someone like Mike Winklejohn or Jackson, you have to have a firm stance on these kind of matters. And I'm glad at this stage Wink has decided to take these steps. Now, soon after that interview went out live on YouTube, I saw a tweet from Jon Jones, and I actually screenshotted it and I sent it to my mate James, because we were having a conversation. We were having a conversation about something else actually, but this came up, and I said, "Oh my God, this is just Jon Jones 101," because this is his response. Had a heartbreaking conversation over the phone with one of my longtime coaches last night. Really hurts to lose the support of someone I respect so much. Sincere thank you to the rest of the coaches for staying in the fight with me. Our journey continues. And I think I've said this in not just my last video about the most recent controversy, but just generally speaking about the multiple videos I've made about Jon Jones and the issues that he's had outside of the octagon. He never wants to take responsibility or ownership for his own actions. Now, the reason Wink has made this choice is because of what happened on that night in Vegas. And Wink actually said during the interview that Jon Jones is a sweetheart when he's sober. It's just when he drinks, he turns into someone else. And I'm paraphrasing. Those aren't the words that he used. I'm just trying to convey the message that Wink was trying to give us during the interview. But rather than sitting there and thinking to himself, and I'm talking about Jon Jones now, and saying to himself, you know what, I had this argument with my missus, and whether he hit her or not, I don't know, but she ended up with a bloody nose or bloody lip or whatever it was, right? So, you know, if he didn't physically hit her, he might have thrown something at her or whatever. I'm just speculating there. But the fact of the matter is, it should never get to that point. It should never get to that point. And the only person responsible at that time, in that moment, for those actions is Jon Jones. So the onus is on Jon Jones to make changes in his own life, in his own behaviors, to stop something like that from happening again, right? So to come out with a tweet, basically, I'm not saying he's blaming Wink, or he's almost saying that, oh, I need you right now, and I'm in my time of need, and you're deciding to walk away from me. He's deciding to walk away from you because this keeps happening time and time again in your life. So rather than looking at exterior things or exterior people or things that are exterior to yourself, I've really messed that sentence up because I've said exterior 3 times and now that's the 4th time. But the point I'm trying to make is, rather than looking outwardly, have a look inside for a minute. Sit down and look at yourself for a minute and try to understand that you're moving like a cunt, excuse my language. And every single time something happens, the response is, I believe in God, and God did this for a reason for me, and it will help me in my pursuit for greatness and that sort of thing. But there's no point in being great in a sport when you're a cunt as a man. Do you get it? Like, and excuse my language again, because like these kinds of things just show me that this man isn't ready to change, I'm afraid. And I'm not trying to pile in on a geezer when he's down, because he's down because of his own actions. He's down because of the way he chooses to live his life. And if he's not going to just sit down and look in the mirror and say to himself, you know what, I fucked up. I don't know how I've ended up here, but I need help. And the help that he needs isn't in the gym, learning how to throw a crisp 1-2. The help that he needs is in a psychiatrist's office to try to dissect why he behaves the way he does. Like, everything in Jon Jones's world revolves around Jon Jones. And anything that he does negatively, he finds a way to become the victim in that situation. And as long as that thought process continues, his actions aren't going to change. To me, it's as simple as that. So it's been quite a lot of upheaval in his life over the last couple of years, professionally speaking now, because obviously he hasn't fought for God knows how long. He's been in this pursuit for a heavyweight fight, and how he believes he deserved to be paid whatever he deserved to be paid. He's been sat on the sidelines. He's had a change of management. He's now with Schaefer. He's moved away from the Cower brothers. Now, you know, one of his head coaches has decided to not train him until he decides to make changes in his life. I don't think that he's going to up sticks and leave and go to another gym. I think that things won't even resolve themselves, and at some point Wink will just start training him again. But I do hope this is the kick up the backside that he needs, but I can't see it happening just because of the way he responded. That tweet that he tweeted, by the way, he deleted after a couple of minutes, which is obviously whatever. He did tweet a little bit about the incident that happened that night, but I won't even bother talking about it, because at this point it doesn't really matter, man. From when you never post any pictures or Instagram stories with your missus, But a couple of days after this whole incident, you post a video of you and her in the car having a little peck on the lips. It's just so you can just see through it all, innit? And people with these kinds of personalities that Jon Jones has got, it's not even that it's just they can't see past themselves. So they can't actually put themselves in the shoes of other people to see, actually, I shouldn't really be posting this. I shouldn't be saying this because it will make me look bad. Because like Jon Jones is just a man to me, and this is just my opinion. And if I'm honest, I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong, because it just feels like all he cares about is himself. And maybe that's what's helped him be so good. Maybe that's what's helped him be so great. But at the end of the day, it might be the reason for his downfall. And it might be the reason why he hasn't reached the potential that he should and could have done, given the talent athletically that he's got. But yeah, that's my take on this latest piece of Jon Jones news. Please feel free to share your own opinions in the comments, and while you're at it, don't be scared to hit the like button, share this video with a friend if you've enjoyed it, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I will catch you guys next time.